pretty much got in there. Right, so now you can see the difference. Yeah, not spotless, but better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push these pistons back. Careful not to damage the edge. So let's get the old pad in there like that. And I'm just going to get the spanner and push against the old pad. And we're going to, whoop, clean pad now as well. Get that corrosion on the back of the pad, look. So bad, in it, rust and salt. Right, so that's in there. And we're going to push against the pad, and that's going to get the piston to go back in. Yeah, because you need the space for the new pistons, which have got a lot more pad on them, to go in. Right, that's not working. So I'm going to put this in here, and then we're going to get this on here. Oh, okay. Right, so one. That one's in, and then come on, go back. Right. Then that one's almost in. That's cool. And then doing what you can with what you got, guys. Always. That's it, they're going in now. That's it. Brilliant. Now, one last wipe. Also, you use a soft brush because you don't want to damage the rubber seals around the pistons. That's the last thing you want to do, and then you get leaky brakes. So, okay, happy with that. So now the pistons are in, nice and clean. This goes in there, like so. Is it that way? Can never ever remember which way this goes in. But I think it only goes in one way. Possibly. I don't know. Cool. That way or that way? Don't know if it matters which way it goes in. It's got to be that way, hasn't it? Okay. So, that's in as well. Now, we're just going to give the pin a bit of a clean. You can see how disgusting that is. So you're going to wash it off first, and we're going to wire brush it. So that's a bit cleaner now. So I've already made sure that the brake pads are the same. Yeah. So the outline of the brake pad is the same before I unwrap them, because you can always wipe the packet off, but they're perfect. So let's take these out, and obviously you want to keep any grease or dirt off the pads. Not dirt, sorry, any grease or oil off the pads. But there's that one. These are sintered pads, and so that one in comparison isn't that bad. But this one, when you look at that edge there, here, up to that one, it's quite bad. So they did need doing. I was just trying to get out of doing it. Okay, now you may be thinking, Andy, you've done all this and you haven't undone the master cylinder screws, but I did. I did it off camera. So a little bit of copper grease on here. This is a slide pin. You don't need loads, you don't need to completely lather it up. And again, be careful that you don't transfer any grease onto the brake pads. So this is what goes through here on the bike to hold the brake pads in. I'm also going to, you never grease these up that go in there to hold the brakes on, obviously. I say obviously, if you don't know, you don't know, but you want those nuts to be obviously tight and not come loose, because they hold your brakes on. And you don't want loads of grease everywhere. You just want a bit to help things move and stop corrosion, I should say. Now, I'm not actually greasing the inside of there, because that's where the Allen bolt screws in. I'm just greasing the flat surfaces to make them hopefully not corrode so much. And same up here, a little bit of grease around there to stop it corroding and to make it move easier. There we go. Where's my lid? Put my lid on. I wipe it in my jeans because I always wash my jeans after I've done this. So, next stage now is to put the brake pads in. Obviously I want to put them in the right way. So this end here goes in first, and it kind of goes into a lip. There we go. One, so it goes into a lip just there, if you can see. Cool. And then this one, this is where you need like 4 pairs of hands, guys, to make it all easy to put in. As you can see, it's always a struggle. 1, 2. And all I want to do is I just want to space those out. Come on, in you go. That one doesn't want to go in. There we go. Come on. Push that in. They're always fiddly to get in. So I'm going to put the pin in here. That one clips in, and then this one clips in, right. Pins in. Now, top tip, don't do anything up until you've got them on the actual wheel, because they're a pain to put on. Especially if you haven't pushed the pistons back far enough. So all I'm doing is I'm just getting the pads in place with a screwdriver. There you go. Right. There. So the pads are in place. There's the pin. I've got to do it up. and as you can see they're in place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it on the wheel like that, and hopefully the pistons are far enough back that they'll just slide on, he says. Okay. Just again getting them in place, and then there we go, slotting them on there. And then this thing, where's my wire brush? This needs a clean as well. Rust everywhere. Yeah, that's cool. Get the corrosion out of there. Okay, so there we have it. It's on. Everything's lining up. Always make sure everything lines up before you do anything up. That all lines up. It's moving freely as well, which is good. So, what we're going to do is we're going to reassemble. So bolt number 1 goes in there, the big one, and then make sure it's done up. That's it. Always do things up finger tight before you get a ratchet or a spanner on them, whichever, because you don't, if you cross these threads, this whole fork leg is stuffed and you're in a world of pain. You have to rethread and drill out, and I certainly don't want to be doing that. Just going to clean this up. Now, this little bolt only holds in the bracket of the brake cable. So I am going to put a little bit of grease on this because it's quite corroded. So I want that. Who'd have thought this would be so difficult to just clean a thread on a bolt? This is why I need a vise and an electric wire wheel. Anyway, stop your moaning, and you've got a garden, which is good. At least I'm not doing this on the street. Years ago I lived in a house and never had a driveway or a garage or a shed, and everything had to be done either at a mate's house or on the side of a street. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on this thread. Feels like it's going to rain. Can feel rain in the air, so I need to get the other side done a bit quick now. As always, is a battle against the elements when you're doing garden maintenance, isn't it, guys? I'm sure some of you out there have the same issues as me. Old bikes, very little dosh, running on a budget, as always. So, on about budget, as we do. All right. Thank you. Slave labour and getting my daughter to put the washing out. Just called you a slave, Mads. Right, again, just doing this finger tight because I can't feel with my fingers very well. So that is slightly cross-threaded. I want it in there nice and straight. There we go. I think that's in. Give it a try. Yeah, there you go, that one's in. God, when you look at a bike and you look how corroded it is, it's scary. Corrosion everywhere. Okay, then I want a very, very small socket, which I don't think I have. Oh, I do. There we go. pulled the brake out. Didn't want to do that. What's going on here then? Why isn't that locating? Just want that to move just a little bit. Right. So the issue is this isn't biting, and I think it's because this isn't up high enough. Just needs a little bit of movement to get that pin. There you go. To go in. Almost. What's going on here then? My fingers aren't strong enough to push that to allow the pin to go in. And it come out. So it should go in theory. Is that in? No. Why is it not going in? What's going on here? Is it in too high? Did it just need a bit of gentle persuasion? Yes, it did. Just needed tapping in. There you go. When you work on your bike, guys, you can tell when things are, you know, cross-threaded or not, and that is fine. Pinch it up. I haven't got a torque wrench, so again, I'm going by experience. I've done this job so many times that I can tell when something is done up to the more or less right torque. Eventually, when I got the money, I will get a torque wrench because I seem to be doing more and more maintenance on this bike. And I think it's come in to a point where either a complete strip down and rebuild is necessary or a new bike. Because every time I work on the bike, I see the corrosion and it makes me think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Okay, so that's one side done. Pinch that up. Pinch this one up. That's done. One. Again, not over tightening. Just making sure. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, job done. Just going to check that again. Done. So that's one side done, guys. Now round to the other side. Gather up my tools. There. And there's no little nuts and bolts left and no washers left, so I know I've not forgot to put anything back on. So now it's just role reversal on the other side. Gently move the wheel. Don't want the bike falling over in any way, especially after replacing the brakes. Okay, so as I said, role reversal. You can also tell how muddy and how horrible it's been by the state of the floor. It is so muddy. Every time I come out, I hose the floor down, wash it down, scrub it, and it's really vile. Anyway, summer's coming. The evenings are getting lighter, and it's getting slightly warmer. It's a whole 12 degrees today, believe it or not.